What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and today we are reviewing The Maze Runner. The Maze Runner was directed by Wes Ball. It stars Dylan O'Brien, and it kind of has a Lord of the Flies type scenario. There's just like this group of like 30 to 40 boys who are all on their own, like no adults and no like really young kids. They're all teenagers. It starts with this guy named Thomas. He wakes up in this box to this group of teenagers, and they're trapped in this place called the Glade, which is surrounded by 4 stone walls, and outside those walls is a massive, just giant, expansive, ever-changing maze. And Thomas, this one kid who comes up, is not like the others. He's curious, and he sparks a whole bunch of events that lead to the eventual discovery of what is really going on here, and we have our movie. So the world and the setting of this movie is actually really interesting. In fact, it's one of the most interesting aspects of the movie. In The Lord of the Flies, it was really like disorderly, but the author James Dashner expressed that he doesn't feel like it would be that disorderly for that long of a time. He feels like they would have established some kind of order, some kind of community, rules and laws and things like that. And that is a really great part of this movie, because these people have learned how to survive. They grow their own food, build their own shelter. They've made a living for themselves, and they've made friendships, relationships that are lasting. Everyone has like a job, like certain people may be like medical helpers, other people may help with growing food, other people may be making food in the kitchen or something, building shelter, things like that. But there are a very select few people, known as runners, who go out every morning when the doors to the maze open and run the maze, map it, memorize it, and try to find a way out. But if they don't make it back before the doors close, then they're basically dead, because no one has ever survived a night in the maze. And that's because of these things out there that come out at night called grievers. No one's ever seen one or lived to tell about it, but they know they're out there. And normally you'd be scared to be a runner. It's like, yeah man, I don't want any part of that. But Thomas is like, I want to be a runner. Like, how do I be a runner? And then people are like, dude, you're crazy. You do not want to go out there. And then Thomas is like, guys, it's time we find out what we're really up against. You guys telling me you aren't curious at all? You're telling me that you don't want to know at all what is going on here? And that builds like a really good mystery in the movie. Like, everyone is so oblivious to what is really happening. It's almost like a whodunit, where you're constantly questioning who did this? Like, what is this about? Like, you're constantly on the edge of your seat. That is also the case with this movie. It's not a whodunit. It's just more of a case of like, what is going on here? The characters are also fantastic, and a lot of that has to go to the performances of these actors, but a lot of these characters are very likable. The protagonist, Thomas, his drive and motivation to really figure out what's going on here makes him easily the most likable character in the film. But you have a couple side characters. There's this kid named Chuck, who's like the youngest there. There's a guy named Newt. Those two characters, aside from Thomas, are easily the most likable in the film, but Thomas is the most relatable. You have this guy named Gally, who essentially is like taking charge, and he believes Thomas is just terrible. Like, ever since Thomas got here, things just started going wrong, and he kind of develops this thing against him, this obligation to loathe him. Now let's talk about the suspense and the action in this movie, because this is one of the most suspenseful movies that I've seen in quite a while, especially in the young adult movies category. Like, well, not necessarily in young adult movies, but like a movie adapted from a young adult book. You know, we've had Harry Potter, Hunger Games, we have Maze Runner, we have the Divergent series. Like, all of these movies developed from young adult stuff. It's all over the place, and The Maze Runner is easily one of my favorites. It takes a refreshingly dark take with some of the stuff. This movie is actually surprisingly brutal for its PG-13 rating. The direction of the action sequences, when we actually get out into the maze, and I won't spoil anything, but let's just say there are sequences in the maze at night, and remember, no one's ever survived a night in the maze. The sequences in the maze, day or night, with these people running for their lives, and with the maze changing and everything, it is some of the most well-directed action that I've seen in a young adult adapted movie pretty much ever. In fact, these movies definitely have the best action out of any of the young adult adaptations that I've seen. These people are great physical actors. Like, when they're running, they're not just like running, they're like full on like just barreling, just torpedoes through these hallways and caverns and stuff in the maze, because these griever things, they will kill you. They will eat you alive. And these people just boom, like just, it's It was so well captured on screen, brilliant wide takes. There's a great moment of sound design where Thomas is like hiding under a little like hole in one of these walls like that's covered by ivy, and a griever is just like walking by and it just growls and everything goes quiet. There's like no music. Thomas just looks out. There's like only a little bit of light shining in and it's just illuminating his eyes, and he's just like sweating and shaking. He's like, this movie is also surprisingly impactful, especially towards the third act. There's some things that happen where you realize just how much you've grown to care about these characters. The emotion gets very raw and real and dark in a couple scenes, and it was so well done. Also, this movie's just non-stop. Like, it never slows down. It is constantly moving. The pacing was pitch perfect the entire time. I still don't understand why more people don't talk about this movie. I don't understand why more people didn't enjoy this movie as much as I did. I mean, do people just miss out on this stuff? My only negative with the movie is something that happens literally at the very end of the film. It gets a little exposition-y. That's all. That's literally all. It just gets a little exposition-y, and that's about it. There is one line that is the obvious setup for the sequel, which I actually have right here, The Scorch Trials, which will be another review on this channel very soon. And even though it was an obvious setup for that movie, it didn't really bother me very much. Even though it was kind of on the nose, it didn't bother me that much because I already knew that there was going to be a movie. I read these books before I saw the movie, and so I already knew that, and because of that, it didn't really bother me. Guys, in the end, I love this movie. It's masterfully crafted, it's brilliantly acted, great sound design, great production design, great mystery, great bonding between these characters, just a lot of great emotion that I really connected to. You put all that together and you have a movie that is a dang good time. I definitely recommend that all of you watch it, and I'm going to give The Maze Runner an A-. Be sure to look out for my review of Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials. That will be coming very soon. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It really does mean a lot, and I do mean that. I say that in every video. I'm like, thanks so much for watching, guys. It really does mean a lot. It really does. I love that people watch my content and enjoy my content, so thanks so much for watching. It really does mean a lot. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, keep writing, keep shooting, and keep editing.